Okay, are you guys ready? We're gonna watch the video in 3, 2, 1. By the way, shout out to the Gooner Goblin for making this video. It looks like it'd be fun. It looks like it's a ton of fun, okay?
What's up, nerds? Zach the Goblin here. Warhammer 40k is amazing. With oceans of lore and hundreds of books to pull from, you could spend years learning and still probably not know everything. The fact that most everyone only has a partial knowledge of the full picture is one of the things that makes the grim darkness of the 40k universe so interesting. 40k can be super serious and edgy at times, which, don't get me wrong, I love that, but some of my favorite things about the setting is when things get a little silly. To date, I have done 4 of these videos over my time making Warhammer content. The first one actually being my first non-video game related Warhammer 40k video. But since then, there are a lot of new people watching my content, so I figured I would put them all together in one video for easy viewing. So today we will be going over a combined 42 of the funniest things about Warhammer 40k. If you like this,
is his friend's name Nipples of Odin, or is he playing with someone called Nipples of Odin? That's crazy. Also, this is how you know I'm fake as fuck, because I did not play I only played the story mode for Space Marine 2. I didn't play anything else. This is how you know I'm fake as fuck. I'm sorry, guys, okay?
this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that noti bell for more Warhammer 40k content. With that out of the way, it's Goblin time. This first story comes from the Horus Heresy. I think it's ridiculous that the Primarch of the Night Lords, Conrad Kurz, has like constant future sight, so he can see the future, and this allows him to see multiple futures and the outcomes.
Right,
but he can never see that his brothers are bullshitting him right to his face, or that the Primarch of the Dark Angels is so autistic that even with Conrad Kurz's future sight, he beat him in not just one, but 2 separate fights in the Angels of Caliban and the Prince of Crows books. The best part about the first one is that Conrad had set this trap for the lion and thought that he was 1 step ahead, because he's always 1 step ahead, because he sees into the future, right? And the lion just basically like nuh-uhs him. He's like, no, you see, this is my hyperfixation. I got here first and disarmed your traps, so actually, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. And I just think it's really funny that he just out-autisms future sight, and he does it.
Is that true? Wait, that's so funny.Ait, is that true? Stop. I'm not talking about the lion fight autism. No, we know that our bestie Lionel Johnson is like has the turbo autism for fighting, but like, is it true that like he basically like fucking like genjutsu like Conrad Kurz? Wait, that's so funny. Very oversimplified, but yes, I think that this is nice. I like that it's oversimplified for people like me who are like shitty normies. I like that. Is so funny. The lion is like, my tism is a swords. How are you gonna know what I'm gonna do if I'm just going off vibes? Wait, is Lionel Johnson basically like exclusively just vibing? Is he just like vibing in this universe? Is that it? Wait, that's so funny. His tism overpowered Kurz's foresight. I love this. No, stop. Okay, this is actually really good. Okay, does anyone remember what books were mentioned? I wanna go like read those books now. He was a feral child. Fair. Understandable, fair. No, just when he sword fights. Oh, okay. So his tism locks in when he's like sword fighting. That's so funny. He showed the books and no, I know. I just like I need to go back and like pause on it. I need to go back and pause on it. I want to read those books now. That is so funny. I kind of love the fact that like, I mean, the whole like out genjutsuing Conrad Kurz through like shirtism is so funny, and then the whole like crow spawn camping the fuck out of Lorgar is also very funny to me. I think it's just so silly, like in this universe. I like it. I really like it.
It twice, so it's not even just like a fluke. He's just that dude. This next story comes from the Horus Heresy novel Legion. It involves a hetman, Hurtado Bronzi, unknowingly meeting the Primarch of the Alpha Legion, Alfarius. I'm gonna read the whole excerpt because I think it's funny. It's essentially just Bronzi Hurtado talking to Alfarius about his balls and then threatening to fight him. Bronzi pulled on his boots and redressed his weapon belt. He realized he needed to take a leak. 5 minutes, he told the Bashaw. He found the latrine, a stinking cement pit down the hall, unbuckled his armor, and sighed as his bladder emptied. Nearby, men were showering in the communal air baths, and he could hear singing from one of the other troop billets. "You'll stay put tonight," said a voice from behind him. Bronzy tensed. The voice was quiet and hard, small yet powerful, like the supergravity coal of a dead sun. "I think I'll finish what I'm doing, actually," he replied, deliberately not looking around and deliberately keeping a tone of levity in his voice. "You will stay put tonight. No fun and games, no bending the rules. Are we clear?" Bronzy buckled up and turned. The specialist stood behind him. Bronzy slowly adjusted his stance until he was looking up at the man's face. Terra, he was huge. A monster of a man. The specialist's features were hidden in the shadows of his dust shawl. "Is that a threat?" Bronzy asked. "Does someone like me need to threaten someone like you?" The specialist replied. Bronzy narrowed his eyes. He was a lot of things, but timid wasn't one of them. "Come on then, if you want some." The specialist chuckled. "I really admire your balls, Hetman." "They were only out because I was taking a leak," said Bronzy. "Bronzy, right? I've heard about you. More barefaced cheek in you than all of the arses in the Imperial Army." Bronzy couldn't help but grin, though his pulse was racing. "I could really mess you up, son. I really could." "You could try," said the specialist. "I would, you know." I really like this little excerpt because it's funny that the, like a Primarch, right? A demigod is sitting here making dick, ball, and ass jokes to this soldier. And
Is that real? Apparently that was an excerpt from like one of the Horus Heresy books called Legion. Where some guy randomly bumps into the Alfarius himself. But wait, it's real? It's not a meme? Hold on, what? You could tell on it. Yeah, you're so right, Hampus. You could tell me that this is fanfiction and I believe you. That has to be some weirdo fucking fanfiction. But it's real. Legion by Apnet? It's Toxic Yaoi. It's actually Toxic Yaoi. What the fuck? That's crazy. What the fuck is that? Hold on. I mean, I guess my edgy grimdark space war book would have some form of like dick and balls joke, I guess. But what? It's a very good read. So you guys think that this is a good read? Mal, you walked into someone reading an excerpt from Legion, the Horus Heresy book, and it reads like yaoi fanfiction. No joke. Do you have any idea of the amount of gay jokes men do in their free time? Do men make a ton of gay jokes? I mean, I can't say that I know any because you know I am not a man, so I can't say I know men jokes. Yeah, please the normal ones. Oh, you know what? That's fair. You know what? That is fair. That is very fair. Okay, more than you think. You know, that's very fair. I am constantly flirting with some of my homies. That is average dude interaction. Oh, okay. So it's not like some weird like yaoi fanfic of like Alfarius and like random soldier. Is he a random soldier, by the way? What's his name again? Oh shoot, I already forgot. But the whole I admire your balls thing is so crazy, and it's like, oh yeah, my balls are out because I'm peeing. What does that even mean? Wait, is this the equivalent of like you going to take you're pissing in the bathroom and your boss comes up to you and is like, nice balls? Is that like the equivalent of it, or like that's what have I come into? Django, apparently there's a dick and balls joke in the Warhammer books. There's a dick and balls joke in the Warhammer books. Didn't think it was a thing, but you know, I guess there is some funny in the Grim Dink, huh? Just a random dude. Bronzy. Ah, yeah. In the picture, he used a space marine, but in the story, it's supposed to be an Imperial Guard soldier. So it's not even like a space marine. It's just a random fucking dude. Wait. So in this universe, are you okay, so let's say like what? You're like a random Amazon employee. and then Jeff Bezos comes up to you, or like one of the guys below, just directly below Jeff Bezos, comes up to you and is like, hey, nice balls. Is that like basically the equivalent? What the fuck? I'm like, not Jeff Bezos, the president. Okay. Oh, it's a space where you're talking to specialist guardsmen. Yeah, but aren't they like, you know, in terms of like ranking, you know? In random Imperial soldier knew nothing about Alfarius. It's so crazy. I know we're kind of fixated on this, but I just think it's very funny. We're gonna keep it going.
And the soldier's just giving it right back to him. And I think it's hilarious. Now let's go into some non-Horus Heresy related funny stories.
Okay.
All of the Warhammer horror novels that I've read have been amazing. So I'm not gonna say which book this is because I don't want to spoil anything, because I think you should just read them. But one of the Warhammer horror novels focuses on an agri-world that contributes food to the Mechanicus. The story goes into great detail about the delicious meals and perfectly preserved meat and vegetables that the locals lovingly prepare to send off-world. And then the Adeptus Mechanicus just take all of that delicious food and throw it into a massive blender to render it down into tasteless gray nutrient paste.
I like my cheese drippy, bro.
And something about that is so depressingly ridiculous that it just makes me laugh, you know?
No,
sometimes Games
why?
Workshop likes to get a little meta. So in 40...
They bullied the fuck out of him. What is this? I mean, I guess the Adeptus Mechanic is like they prioritize like, you know, sustenance over like taste, but like no, they got bullied. This is so sad. Can I get an 07 in the chat? Add mech behavior. That is so, I mean, I guess it is like from a logistical standpoint, yeah, it kind of does make sense, but no. 07's in the chat. That's so sad. Corpse starch. Oh my god. Okay, guys. Okay, corpse starch mentioned. Times mentioned. We're never escaping from this chat. We'll put this over here. Okay? Corpse starch mentioned times 1. 07's in the chat. Not the corpse starch. Everyone tells me don't look it up, don't research into it. I'm like, cool. I don't want to do that. It's okay. I think that, okay, I actually like that there are like parts of the Warhammer universe that I can like low key on the like the lowest of keys like cherry pick, right? Like what I wanna like know about, and what I don't want to know about, if that makes sense. I'm not someone who can really stomach like stuff that's like too scary. So like, that is all for 80k. I think that the rest of 40k I'm still like okay with, but like there's like moments of 40k like where like it's so depressing that I genuinely have to sit there for a bit, stare at myself in the mirror, and then like look at a cat video. You know what I mean? James Workshop, if you're listening, please drop a Rogel Dorn plushie. I need an emotional support Rogel Dorn. Yeah. I'm at the cherry picking part. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that I like that I don't necessarily have to know all of 40k. I can cherry pick the parts that I want to know, because like there are moments, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there are moments of like Warhammer 40k lore that I've watched so far that have just made me insanely depressed, and I just need like I need my emotional support like Rogel Dorn. It's a horrendous way for Chaos Space Marines to make more Chaos Space. Oh no. Have you guys ever seen the movie The Substance? This guy I was dating had me watch it with him, and I just kind of sat there like, my face was like this the entire time. Just, it was a moment, that's for sure. Okay, random question. Who do you think listens to like, out of all the Primarchs, who do you think listens to like Joji and Keshi? Who do you think's the Asian sad boy of like all the Primarchs? I feel like it'd be Conrad Kurz. Corvus? I feel like Crow would listen to like actual like really like emo bullshit. Crow for sure. I love Crow. I still love like all of their names. I mean, Robukte Gilliman, right? His name has basically been like bastardized all the way down to robot whatever, right? And now what's he canonically doing? Fucking taxes. It's great. Corvus listens to My Chemical Romance. Honestly, true. Yeah, I think okay. So somewhere around here, he talks about I still can't say the name right, but yeah. Kuro Curse listens to Russian dubstep and screamo about instruments. You know? Have you ever dated someone with like really fucked up like musical sense? Like, have you ever dated someone whose like musical sense was so like fucked up, right? Like it's so bad that it's not even like it's just questionable. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I dated this girl and she likes to listen to Taylor Swift. I'm talking about music where you're actually just like, someone made this? You know, your first reaction is just someone made this? You know what I mean? There was this really famous like Reddit post about this one guy who listens to like this really weird like sex music. Like he listens to this like really weird like song during like sex, and it's just weird as fuck. I don't know if you remember that, but it's just like it's just music that like that sounds like that, right? It's just genuinely like, huh? Who likes this shit? You know, it's a DJ mixing stuff up. I actually know, like, I actually have a bunch of friends who are like DJs because, like, you know, we're all e-girls, right? I have a bunch of friends who are like DJs, and I'm like convinced that the only reason why they're good at like DJing is because they wear like tank tops. So, you know, the entire time they're just like going, you know, bouncing. And it's like, understandable, have a nice day. But yeah, let's keep it going because like, that was a very weird segue. I'm sorry. Sometimes we get on like the wildest of topics. I can't help it.
40K, there's this black planet known as Birmingham, and it's known as a black planet because it receives absolutely no visible light from its system sun, and its technology is primitive and pre-industrial compared to the rest of the Imperium.
UK, Birmingham.
For example, the favored weapon among the natives is still the black powder musket.
Oh.
I think it's funny that Games Workshop, a United Kingdom-based company, is tongue-in-cheek just making fun of actual real-life Birmingham, and that's hilarious to me. This next story is about the edgelord Cato Sicarius. This takes place in the Damocles Crusade, and they are fighting Tau. Another sergeant, and I apologize if I don't pronounce this correctly, Nuitor, is about to kill a Tau water cask. And basically, like right before, in perfect Gothic, she's like, no, don't kill me. I'm no threat to you. I'm poor even amongst my own kind. Like, I'm pathetic. Don't kill me. And then Nuitor's like, stops, because he's like, oh, that sounds like me. Shit. Maybe they're not so different, right? So the Tau woman sees that hesitation and then presses on. You have the bearing of a knight, sire. Its speech and accent becoming more refined as it goes on. And she keeps on just gassing him up, being like, I can see you're an honored and noble warrior of tradition. I see it in what you wear. Those are marks of your forefathers, are they not? And then Nuitor like raises his pistol, but he's like hesitating. He's like, I don't know if I should kill this person, but like this creature also knows too much about me. So like he's on the edge, right? And then the Tau woman asks, would your forefathers be proud to see you cut down a helpless, unarmed female? Her honey voice innocent, but with the barest hint of reproach. Would the king amongst kings you must venerate be impressed, he whose code you follow? So in that moment, Nuitor thought about Rabute Gilliman, his Primarch, and how he would handle that situation. And he's like, fuck man, I'm not even sure. But then out of nowhere, Cato Sicarius barrels past him and just says, yes, and stomps the creature hard into the ground. And he is stomping this Tau woman into mush. And at the end, Sicarius spat on the corpse, pushing onwards into the gloom. Like, he doesn't even stop. So this like defenseless woman is like, would your people want us, like, would your leaders and the people who you venerate, would they want you to kill this innocent, helpless woman? And then Sicarius just comes in and is like, yeah, we're fucking racist. We're xenophobic, of course. They would be glad we kill you. And he just kills her. And something about that is just kind of funny. But you might be thinking, Zach, that's just edgy. That's not funny, right? And you'd be half true. In a vacuum, that story might not be the funniest. But then you think you have that edgy moment that's played super serious. And then you realize that takes place in the same universe where there's a planet of cat girls. And that like dichotomy of like the super like kind of edgy seriousness with fucking cat girls happening at the same time, this duality. And it's just so funny. That's so hilarious to me. Next are some stories about
it's the most like, yeah, I agree. It's super edgy. It's like one of the edgiest things I've heard in a while. What the heck? Literally, what the fuck? I mean, the Tau is about to backstab the Marine. I'm not surprised. It's probably, I'm not surprised. It totally sounds like something like it sounds like the JoJo clip. It sounds so edgy. It kind of makes sense though. Like in a world where like you're constantly at war. I just want to know which like intern at like James Workshop just like slid in to like the meeting one day and went, hear me out. What if we added cat girls? Like like which intern at James Workshop did that, and then fucking the C-suite must have been like, yo, you're cooking. I can't wait for them to drop the cat girl little figures. They're more furry than anime? I guess that makes sense then. The best intern. They're effective against Tyranids? Are they really? That's honestly that's kinda goated.
About the Necrons, the undying robotic space Egyptians. First,
Yeah,
I'm going to start
we
off
love
with
the
probably one of the
Necrons.
most famous, Trazen the Infinite. So this guy, again, he's like a robotic space Egyptian, right? But he's also like a hoarding kleptomaniac. Like he wants to collect everything. So he's going around and he like basically throws Pokeballs at random people, like custodians. He has a clone version of the Primarch Fulgrim in there. He just has a little bit of everything. He has extinct species. He wants to collect things. So I think it's just funny that there's just this undying space Egyptian that goes around and just like, he's got to catch them all. He's like Ash Ketchum up in this bitch. So he just as an entity is hilarious. And there's actually one story in particular that I want to talk about, and it's about he has a wine cellar. This comes from the book The Infinite and the Divine. The chief librarian and Trazen are talking about possible expansion, and the librarian's like, hey, the library's full, we're over capacity. I'm humbly asking, can we expand the collection into the space that currently is occupied by the wine cellars? And Trazen's like, looks at him like, but then where would I put my wine, librarian? And the librarian just looks at him, because again, he's a robot. He's like, you do not drink wine, my lord. And then Trazen gets kind of upset and is like, yeah, of course I don't drink it. It's far too valuable. Request denied. Enlist excavation race to dig another chamber. So the next thing is about...
Wait, when he says wine cellar, do they actually mean wine, or are they like memeing? Or are they memeing about the whole wine thing? Mega hoarder? Oh, it's actually wine? It's actually... I thought it was just like a euphemism for something. Wait... That's kind of based though. What the hell? He's like, hey, where would my wine go? Very legit question. Where would it go? He has a wine cellar is so funny. Oh my god. Ancient Ash Ketchum. I love that. That is insanely based. Super rare wine too. He's a kleptomaniac. I love this for him! Holy shit! Okay, I love this for him. Let's fucking go, chat. Let's actually fucking go. He's the literal personification of the British Museum's mild kleptomania. Species going extinct, Trazen turns up, steals your wine, leaves. You know... I kind of love that, like, in this entire fucking universe, and where everyone is like, we're gonna kill each other, and also there's like chaos gods. This guy's just kind of here, like, I am doing this for my hobby. I'm just gonna do this for my hobby. He is a man with like conviction, and like he's so focused on his goals. I kind of love that about him. He's my spirit machine. True. I kind of love that for him.
Imhotep the Stormlord, and he is such a brilliant military genius that he has outwitted the Hive Mind and outschemed the Eldar themselves. This kind of manifests on the tabletop. He has a special rule that gives you a 50-50 chance of going first, even if you didn't win initiative. However, he's so obsessive and methodical that he can't wrap his mind about how goddamn stupid the orcs are, and how they just fuck around without the concept of strategy or proper tactics, that he can never outplan them. So he can never win initiative over orcs ever. That was from 5th edition, so it doesn't quite work that way in the tabletop anymore, but that's funny, so I'm gonna say it's still canon. Don't make me tap the sign. And I think that's a perfect way to transition into the orcs. Now,
wait, was that an actual tweet from Games Workshop? Everything is canon? He lives to preserve history? I kind of love that for him though. No, that's not a natural tweet? Oh, okay. Is it like, is it just like one of those tweets that's been like heavily like edited? Has a quirk in this collection that if released could cause orcs to be unstoppable. Oh. If Trazen's feeling really nice, he'll throw out a bunch of random stuff from his collection at someone to give them a really bad day. What? That's so funny. Okay. Is Jason like, okay, who is the biggest hater in all of like 40k? Who is like the biggest fucking hater? Like, everything he does is purely out of spite. Everything is canon, not everything is true. That's a mod. What does that even mean? Peter Turbo? You know, Peter Turbo is probably right, huh? Basically everything we know in the lore is written in universe, so as potential be wrong, a propaganda or hallucination. Oh! Wait, that makes so much sense! He kidnaps people, show him his planet-sized museum. Does he like kill them? Is he like one of the guys that will like kill you? Or is he just like a dude? Like, these are important distinctions, but is he just a dude or will he actually kill you?
Now, the orcs could take up multiple videos by themselves, which is something that I would be more than happy to do if the interest is there. But I'm just going to start off with a few stories just to highlight how ridiculous the orcs are. Let's start off with a little orc lightning round. So I believe this comes from Gaunt's Ghosts. The orcs think that the Great Rift is like a giant mouth.
Okay.
And their rationale is like, yeah, there's demons coming out of it. Of course, demons come out. They get spit out because they taste bad, obviously. So another thing with a warp is everybody needs to protect themselves when they travel through it because, you know, that's where demons and chaos reside. But the orcs just put teeth on their ships. So they just use like these weird large metal teeth in the front of the ship, and it's to scare off demons. And for the most part it works, right? Because orcs. But then if it doesn't work, it's even better because then the orcs get to fight demons. So it's really just a win-win for them. And then another last lightning round is that orcs don't have hair. So if they're depicted with hair, they use these things called hair squigs. They're just little guys that kind of look like hair, and they have them bite the top of their head so that they have hair. So their hair is just another living being that's just on top of their head. And there's a lot of funny things with squids, but that's for another video. An orc warlord.
Huh? Wait, is that what that means? Wait, but also, hold up. If they have hair, it's just something biting the top of their heads. That's what that means? They farm hair squigs to get hair. Party. That's so funny. Orcs are completely bald, so if they have hair, it's just like hair squigs. Cool. I love that for them. Honestly, very funny.
Grizzguts accidentally went back in time once. So when they were using warp travel, they accidentally went back in time just shortly before they departed. And the first thing the Grizzguts does is he kills his earlier self so that he could have his favorite gun as a spare. So he's just like, I want 2 of my favorite gun. Let me just kill myself.
What?
And he does. And time paradoxes be damned, it works out for him. He's chilling. And now he has 2 of his favorite gun. So this one has been mentioned in the comments of a couple of my videos. It's been said enough that I can't find the source, so I don't think this is canon, but again, tap the sign. The Imperial Guard was fighting the orcs once, and there's so many orcs, right? So it was going on for so long that they were running out of bullets. I need bullets! So their commissar just told them, when they get close, just make gun sounds. So the orcs are coming, and they're just making gun sounds, but because the orcs think it's real, it's stopping them. Like, it's working. They're just going like, bang, bang, boom, boom. And it's just working, and the orcs are just like, fuck, man, these guys really know how to fight. These guys just never stop. And it works, and that's just, you know, the orcs believe it, and that's hilarious.
What?
And I have one bonus for you. I've seen it floating around, but I can't find a source, so I can't say if this is true or not. This involves an Ogren, or like these really strong, big abhumans, and they're kind of dumb. So it's, you know, they're just big, dumb, strong guys. So there's this Ogren, right, who writes letters to the Emperor, like a way a little kid would write emperors to Santa Claus. And the Ogren's commissar, like, can't break it to him, so he keeps all the letters and just lets him think that the Big E is reading them. And I think it's just so cute and wholesome, especially with all the grim darkness of the 40k universe, that it's just so cute, and I had to share it. This scene comes...
I don't know, like, what the social dynamics are for Ogrins, but so far in all of the media that we've consumed on stream, at least, all of the Ogrins and the commissars have, like, good relationships, right? That's so nice. I do like it. I do like it very much. Ogrins are big children? Yeah. They're himbos? Yeah, we can't call them himbos like that, but the orc psychic collective affects reality. That's why ones go faster. Really? I know about that. I have a general idea about that because they're all about like what was it? They paint like their stuff different colors, right? Because of the whole like psychic collective thing. But It's more than have good relations that pull your arms up by. Yeah, that's true. You better treat them if you don't get killed. I know, but you know, I still like Ogrins very much. They're arguably one of my favorite parts of the Warhammer universe, but I still get sad because like it seems like only bad things happen to them. Oh man. It just seems like they're so people bully them. It's so sad. If an Ogrin gets a command, they'll do it no matter what. That's why they love them. True. I just hope that all the commissars are nice to the Ogrins because like they're so sweet. They don't deserve to get bullied at all. Purple's the sneakiest color. Purple is a sneaky color. Trust.
Comes from the book Vulcan Lives. So at this point, Vulcan has been tortured and repeatedly basically killed by his brother Conrad Kurz over and over countless times. But because he's a perpetual, he just comes back to life every time. He just recovers. So it just like elongates his torment, right? So he's been through it. And then the Emperor finally decides to stop being an absentee father and is like, yo, I'm gonna help one of my sons. You know, he is getting tortured and killed over and over again. So thanks to the Emperor's guidance, Vulcan's able to make it through Perturabo's maze, being confronted by Conrad Kurz in the center before retrieving his Warhammer Dawnbringer. So the thing about Dawnbringer is Vulcan secretly built a teleporter into it. And he's like, ha ha ha, you done messed up, Conrad. You shouldn't have let me get this. With Conrad just being like, you idiot. I know there's a teleporter in that. Do you think I'm stupid? This whole place is teleport shielded. You can't get out of here. It doesn't matter that you have a teleporter. All you had was false hope. With Vulcan delivering the iconic line, you're right. I fashioned it as a teleporter. A means to escape even a prison such as this. I counted on you leading me here. On you needing to face me one last time. It seems I was fooled into thinking you hadn't planned for this. But you're forgetting one thing. What's that, brother? It's also a hammer. And then proceeds to beat the brakes off my man. Kurz being able to see the future be damned, it didn't matter. He forgot the one simple rule that it's also a hammer. And it's...
Wait a second, you're fucking joking! This is so dumb! You forgot that my hammer is also a hammer and then proceeds to smack the shit out of him. I love how, like, I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite part about Warhammer, okay? It's that it's so edgy to the point where, like, it just loops back into being funny, right? It literally is so edgy that it loops back into being funny because that was some Death Note shit right there where it's like, oh yeah, I predicted your moves, so I countered it with this. And then you have like, and then you just have like Light over there being like, I predicted everything. And then L just like throws a fucking hammer at his face. This is so stupid. It loops back into being, it's so ridiculous that it's so good. How do you forget that the fucking hammer's a hammer? Does Conrad Kurz get destroyed by his own, like, overthinking? Like, so far we've heard 2 stories where he basically kind of got countered, right? By his own, like, you know, by him, like, overthinking. That's so dumb. I kind of love it. It's like, they're not infallible. He just thinks he's too smart. Yeah, he focused on the bigger picture and forgot that it's a dumb fucking hammer. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wait, I need to read this book. What is it called again? Vulcan Lives, right? I'm gonna write this down. Vulcan Lives. We're gonna buy this one, guys. We're gonna buy it. We're gonna read it. It's gonna be great. The ability to see a future makes him act a little dumb. No, I kind of get it because like I kind of get it because it's like one of those like anime moments, right? Where you have a villain who's like super OP, that he like completely forgets that basic shit still works. You know what I mean? Conrad has some serious mental health problems. Okay, but being for reals, who in the Warhammer universe doesn't have like severe mental problems? Conrad Kurz is our low value man with like insane red flags, right? No, it's not because Conrad's getting his ass beat. We can't fix him, chat. We cannot fix Conrad Kurz. We cannot fix Conrad Kurz. Do not try to fix him. We are not fixing him. All the Primarchs got daddy issues, so you know, fair. Okay. Who is the lowest value man out of all of the Primarchs? Who is the lowest value man? Like, absolutely lowest value. Lorgar? Lorgar is the lowest value? Ooh. You know? Fair. Fair. I was thinking that it'd be like Conrad Curse or Mortarion, but honestly, Lorgar being the lowest value man makes sense. No, yeah. No, you guys are right. You guys are right. Maybe he's fixable, Miwa, we just haven't tried hard enough. We're not gonna try to fix Conrad Curse. Are you kidding me? Bro could kill us. What? Ingron, because of the butcher nails, is permanently unfixable. That's true. I mean, I think that, like, all the Chaos Primarchs are unfixable. And all the non-Chaos Primarchs, all the Emperor side ones, the Imperium ones, are also kind of unfixable, huh? No, like, he actually has mental problems. At the end of the day, his brain was basically short-circuiting because he had schizophrenia, genuinely. Conrad Curse was schizo? Ooh. Damn. Ingron had the chance to be the highest value man of all the Primarchs. True. Sanguinius almost fixed them. Which of the Chaos Which of the Chaos Primarchs is fixable in your opinion? Don't say Sanguinius, because we know Sanguinius is not Sanguinius, sorry. Don't say his name starts with Fulgrim. Don't say Fulgrim. Fulgrim is not fixable. Fulgrim is not fixable. What? You think Fulgrim's fixable? Is Alpharius even like a... Is Alpharius even a Chaos Primarch? I almost said Sanguinius. I'm sorry. I read the word Sanguinius and just said it. You know, no, Magnus is fixable. You're right. Magnus is fixable. Peter Turbo. So if we had the option to, we'd fix Peter Turbo and Magnus. The Emperor told Mortarion he can still be saved. Okay, we can also fix Mortarion, but Mortarion's stinky. I think a good shower would fix him. I think a good shower would fix Mortarion. What do you guys think? How do we fix the Primarchs? This is like some like psychology stream. This is actually like a psychology stream. How will we fix the Primarchs, and in what way will we fix the Primarchs? Oh, YouTube's edging too? Hot take Horus? You think you could fix Horus? I don't think any of us could fix Horus. Holy shit. I don't think Bob the Builder could fucking fix Horus. You know? Sanguinius can fix you, me, and everyone. If Sanguinius didn't die, he could fix everyone. He would absolutely fix everyone. You're so right. Horus wasn't in control? Yeah. What's my favorite Primarch? Rogaldorn. Horus wouldn't have fallen if it wasn't for Lorgar and Erebus. That's true! Erebus, you sneaky little bitch. Sanguinius needs its own fixing first. No! Okay, guys. Every time... I'm kind of in that mood where every time I read the word Sanguinius, I just remember his, like, death speech, and that makes me really fucking sad. That just makes me really sad. Why? What do you mean, why? Because his last speech at his last speech was just really emotional. You know? I cried twice listening to that shit. Twice! I listened to the same thing twice, I cried both times. I listened to it again, I cried again. Oh my god. Okay, don't watch YouTube when you're in the shower. Because sometimes, like, when you could be watching a random video, and if you're still in the shower, it just skips to, like, the next video, right? The Sanguinius speech came on while I was in the shower. So I was shampooing my hair, and I was just standing there going... I was just sobbing while shampooing my fucking hair. And I was like, oh, did the shampoo get in my eyes? No, I was just standing there listening to Sanguinius being like, if you guys need to run, I understand. I'd run too. And I'm just there like... scrubbing my hair crying. It was so lame. So, you know, TLDR, don't watch YouTube videos while you're in the shower. You will cry. if the random fucking Sanguinius speech comes on. It was the epic version too. It wasn't the other version. It was the epic version, the one with like the really good voice acting. I was like, why are you doing this to me, man? And my hands were like all soapy, so I couldn't like swap to a different video. So I just stood there and like listened to it while like crying. It was great.
It's just one of those lines that just has lived on in infamy. It's brought up a lot. It's created a meme that I think is on the level of the I am Alfarius meme. So I believe this next one is actually Games Workshop kind of covering their ass on their inconsistent character designs. So the beautiful Sanguinius, as you probably have seen, is usually depicted with white, long, flowing hair. But in a lot of the early Horus Heresy novels, he's actually described with black hair. Two examples off the top of my head being in Horus Rising, after a bunch of Blood Angels are killed on the planet Murder, as well as in Prospero Burns at the Council of Nicaea, where he's depicted as having black hair. And the way I've heard this discrepancy described between the white and black hair is that sometimes Sanguinius just dyes his hair, and I think it's described as him being in mourning, which is ridiculous to think about this borderline godlike being just being a little emo sometimes and just dyeing his hair black.
He's just like me for reals, for reals. Anytime a guy like stops talking to me, I sit there and think, oh, I'm gonna dye my hair now. Are girls just Sanguinius? Are we just Sanguinius? I say instead of fixing the Chaos Primaris, we turn the rest. No! No, leave my Rogaldorn alone! Even Sanguinius at emo phases. Fair. Very fair. Now you're not him? Okay. You know what? Yeah. No, we're not changing the Blood Angels. I don't think my heart could take the true torment that is being a Lamenter's like stat. I couldn't do it. Don't insult Sanguinius, man. Okay. Being emo's Corvus and Curse's thing. That's true.
Imagine him sitting in his room on his ship, just listening to Hawthorne Heights or something. This next one shows that even the mega serious Ultramarines can have a sense of humor sometimes. This comes from the book Pharaohs. So the Ultramarines are about to board a communication relay station where some Night Lords are hiding. And on the station, there's no gravity. And a couple of the Ultramarines are talking and they're like, okay, we gotta board this. We gotta kill all the Night Lords. We can't leave them here. And one of them's like, okay, yeah. We're gonna dock. Let's take 4 of them. Let's go to the back of the station. Let's get this going. Maybe we can come at them from like 2 directions. And one of them gets this shit-eating grin on his face, and he just lets out a big ol' "We float for McCrag," and the other guy just scowls at him and is like super disappointed. And I think this is funny for two reasons mostly. One, again, the Ultramarines aren't always that funny. Sense of humor for Space Marines in general isn't very common. And the next reason being that the guy who said it was just so happy with himself, and he knew before. He's saying it. He's like, this is gonna piss everyone off, and I'm here for it. And I really identify with that. I appreciate that. Next, we're gonna take a look at my favorite Legion, the Dark Angels. So as noted in the previous video, the Primarch of the Dark Angels, Lionel Johnson, is low-key kind of autistic. There are many examples of him not being able to properly read a room or connect with people, and he often comes off as a little bit too blunt at times. This extending to even his brother Primarchs. It's so bad that his right-hand man, Corswain, was granted the nickname of Beloved by Primarchs such as Rawbutt Girlyman and Sanguinius. They called him this because even though he was just a normal Astartes, he was just so much more pleasant to deal with than the Lion himself that whenever they saw him instead of the Lion, they were just so happy that he was just their beloved. So one of, if not the most competent Primarchs with loads of aura, is such a dick that people would much rather deal with his second in command. To round off the Horus Heresy section, I'm going to talk about the Snake Daddy himself, Fulgrim. During the book, also called Fulgrim, the Emperor's children are assaulting a planet full of snake people. During this, Fulgrim walks into a temple where there's a freaky snake orgy going on. Now the centerpiece, the focal point if you will, of this orgy, right, is this sword. And Fulgrim sees the sword, which, again, mind you, the snake orgy participants are definitely obsessed with. And he's like, yeah boy, this is my sword now, I'm gonna keep this. This seems pretty sick. Surely nothing can go wrong with this. Spoiler alert. Obviously, with anybody with half a brain would realize, things did go wrong. It's a sentient sword, and it slowly starts to make Fulgrim go a little crazy. Moral of the story, maybe don't pick up a snake orgy sword. Or maybe I'm the crazy one, I don't know. Also as a bonus, there's a scene from the book A Reflection Cracked, where the Emperor's children are torturing Fulgrim because they believe he's possessed by a demon, and the whole time he's loving it, and he's just giving them advice on how better to torture him, and one of them uses a pair of anguish on him, and let's just say he didn't hate it. And with that,
What The fuck? Also, is that the chaos sword that basically turned him evil? Is that why he's a snake now? Okay. No. We know the sword now. We know the sword. We watched that one video. We know the sword. Oh my god. Oh, alright, Miu, I have a question. If you could make any Primarch a woman, who would it be? None of them. I like them the way they are. So none of them, probably. He'll basically always follow chaos no matter one way or another. Ooh. You know, I wanted to do like a deep dive into like the individual Primarch weapons, but also I don't know. Maybe we need to do you feel like we need to learn more about the Primarchs first, or do you think we could just jump into like weapons? Cuz like remember how we were listening to like the lore stuff and like they were bringing up like the weapons and I was like, I have no idea what this is. I had to like Google it on the side because I was like, oh, they're talking about this one thing a lot, and I was like, I don't know what that is. You know? Just dive into just the weapons. Yeah, I think like the problem is that like all the Primarchs have like different weapons, and I'm like, I don't know what these are called. I don't know what they're called, and then they just keep, and then their random weapons keep being mentioned, and I'm like, okay, is this a guy? Like, is this a guy? Question mark. I mean, as someone who's been to an all-girls school, as someone who's like been to all, like, I went to like Catholic school, so it's all girls, right? Thinking that women won't fight is crazy. Our asses fight all the fucking time. Like, our asses fight all the fucking time. Like, especially if they're siblings, right? Like, me and my sister, we used to fight all the fucking time. It would not happen. It would not work. It would not make a difference. 07's in the chat.
I think it's about time to move away from the Horus Heresy and talk about some more modern 40k lore. And as a good bridge between the two eras, this next story comes from the book Shroud of Night and follows a squad of Horus Heresy era Alpha Legionnaires arriving in modern 40k. In this book, they sneak past a World Eater's fleet by having a recording of kill, maim, burn!
What?
Play on repeat over the Vox and having the pilot fly like an idiot to trick the World Eaters into thinking they're one of their own. The Alpha Legionnaires seeing Saint Celestine in a battle and basically just being like, they have angels? What is this bullshit? And stuff like that. So it's basically just a book of Horus Heresy era Astartes just being plopped into the batshit insanity that is the Imperium of Man in 40k. Now you'd be excused for thinking that with all the wars and dying, that there wouldn't be much time for romance. But let me tell you, there's not only romance books, there's even smutty ones. In the book, The Carrion Throne, there is reference to a book titled, My Wish to Generate Children with You is only exceeded by my devotion to him.
Hot take. I'm gonna drop the spiciest take, chat. Are you ready? This sounds like an isekai manga. This sounds like an isekai manga. What is this? What is this NTR ass title? My wish to generate children with you is only seen by my devotion to him. What is TLDR? I want to fuck you, but I have a husband. What? What is this? This is like the lusty Argonian maid on like steroids or something. Okay, but Crow would be hot as fuck as a girl. I don't know if Crow would necessarily be like a big titty goth GF, but shit. Wait, tell me I'm wrong though. Is this not like some NTR Dojin ass title? Him as the Emperor? Okay, but then why wouldn't I? Okay, I mean, if I'm devoted to the Emperor, why wouldn't I be able to generate children with someone else, huh? I mean, like it's a running assumption that like we're gonna generate children with the Emperor? I'm confused now. I'm confused now. Wait. Why wouldn't you be able to generate children with someone else if you're devoted to the Emperor? Duty comes before child making? I'm pretty sure you could do both. What? He's saying the only thing I love more is the Emperor? Oh, that, okay, you know what? You know what? 40k smut just hits different, I guess. Shit. 40k smut hits different.
With him, of course, being the God Emperor himself. So not only is it funny to me that there's a religiously charged smut book in the 40k universe, it's also the little tidbit is that this book is set on Krieg. You know, Krieg, the toxic radioactive death world. You know, the
What?
same place that the death corpse of Krieg come from. But
What?
yeah, I think that's the perfect place to set a romance and or smut book. Next, I want to talk about Caiaphas Cain. Now,
Oh.
Commissar Cain definitely deserves a video all to himself. So for
Okay.
now, I'm just going to
Are we
give a
ready?
brief overview on why I love him and think he's hilarious. Caiaphas Cain is a very interesting character to me because everybody touts him as this big legendary hero, but he just has like intense imposter syndrome. So he'll do these like really heroic things, but the way he tells it, it's either completely by accident or just to save his own ass. So you have all these moments in his books where he says something like very like heroic, like, of course I'll take care of that for you. And then he'll have his inner monologue go like, well, at least until I get the opening to run away, or something like that. And anytime he says
What?
something like impressive, it's because he thinks that that's what he should say. It's only to keep up his image. It's not because he actually believes anything he says. For example, his first posting after his graduation, he finagled his way into being assigned to a artillery unit, with his rationale being, hey, this way I can be as far away from the actual fighting as possible, so I'm in no
Okay.
actual danger. But unfortunately for him, danger did come to him in the form of the remnants of a Tyranid high fleet. So they're getting attacked, and he's like, oh fuck, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. So he grabs somebody, and they commandeer a vehicle so that they can drive away and try to evacuate with the civilians. But on the way, they see a bigger swarm of Tyranids, and
Oh.
Commissar Cain's like, oh shit, they're trying to flank us. So they turn around and head right back to the artillery brigade. But with this, it acts as a warning to the brigade, which actually causes them to be able to fight back and destroy the Tyranids, thus saving everybody. And that's a pattern with Caiaphas Cain. He does something cowardly, but then it ends up working out and actually being good for everybody. Another example is in the first
Damn.
book, For the Emperor. At one point, in typical Cain fashion, hoping to avoid marching into the thick of things, he arranges to investigate something going on somewhere else, assuring everyone that he'll definitely make it back in time to join the fun. The whole time
Okay.
thinking, yeah, I got out of this dangerous situation, let's go. But then he actually stumbles upon a more dangerous situation, which moves along the plot. So by his own admission, he doesn't deserve to be called a hero. He just thinks, I'm just really good at surviving. I know when to duck behind cover. But the thing
That's
is, he has almost this
crazy.
sixth sense for danger, and he ends up usually, if not always, making the right decision, and it helps people. So he is a hero. So you're left to wonder, is he actually this roguish scoundrel that's just out to save himself and doesn't care about anything else? Or is he a man that's just way too hard on himself and downplays all of his own accomplishments? But either way,
So he is king from like One Punch Man then, huh? What the heck? He is king from One Punch Man. Did you actually read his books, Duolox? That's crazy. Common sense, the 40k superpower. No wonder he's a hero. We love common sense here. Yeah, I read his books. Oh my god. Okay, I guess I have to go read them now. You read the book's narrator. The narrator sometimes calls him an idiot because he downplays himself even though he's obviously super competent. Oh. Basically keeping morale high almost in a Sardi's level duo is extremely good at playing it cool in the face of danger, but he can fight. His books are great. Okay, I guess we'll put that on the reading list too then. We'll put that on the reading list too. Okay, let's keep it going. Guys, I wanna know. We're 20 minutes in to we're 20 minutes into a 40-minute video and I've been streaming for 2 hours. How does this happen? How the fuck does this happen? I'm sorry to my editor. I don't know how I keep doing this. I am very sorry.
watching Caiaphas Cain just be kind of like a smooth-talking, roguish commissar is very entertaining, and if you get the chance, I definitely recommend checking out the books. Trazen the
Ooh.
Infinite, Warhammer 40k's favorite Pokemon trainer. Another character that very well could be his own video. But I want to talk about his relationship with Oracan in the book The Infinite and the Divine.
Okay, I don't know who that
nudge,
is.
Nudge. I also recommend reading this book as well. This
Okay.
book, not surprisingly, is about Trazen the Infinite and Oracan the Diviner. And the funny thing about this is they're basically just spy versus spying each other. With my
Ooh.
favorite part being that Trazen is just kind of being a shitbag the whole time. Like, he's just being a little jokester. It's noted that Necrons have no need to smile, yet Trazen is described as smiling constantly. Oracan just hates this, and it's implied that Trazen smiles explicitly because he hates it. Other highlights include Trazyn teleporting to Orican just so he can shoot him in the face and basically saying, "Fuck you," before teleporting away again. Trazyn bragging that human Imperial world made a statue of him and then proceeding to steal the statue so he could have it for himself. And while in a Necron court, Trazyn and Orican just flipping each other off. Here's a little excerpt. Trazyn flashed the sign of Vok, a metaphysically obscene gesture that, in simple terms, indicated that Trazyn hoped that the diviner would, in all timelines and dimensions, come to a brutal and humiliating end. Orican flashed it back, and Trazyn gave a low chuckle. Again, if you have the chance, I highly recommend you checking out this book. For my last point, the Imperium of Man is anything but efficient, I think we can all safely say. But my favorite, and I think the funniest example of this, that there are inquisitorial ordos that are actually in stark opposition of each other. The Ordo Redactus is devoted to hiding the early secrets of the Imperium, and on the other side of that coin, there's the Ordo Originatus. I'm sorry if I butchered that. That is devoted to uncovering the early secrets of the Imperium. So they are frequently working directly against each other, and it does cause conflicts. And I just think that's really funny and is a good microcosm of the Imperium of Man as a whole. So that was my last one, but because you guys have been such good boys and girls, I'm gonna give a bonus one right now. In 40K, there have been countless things that have been lost to time, but my favorite are when things are just misremembered. My favorite examples are Belisarius Cawl talking about the Golduloc's 3 Ursine hypothesis. And he's like, surely you guys have all heard about that. No? Really? No, let me tell you. Golduloc was an ancient scientist. She was one of the 13 Apollons who led mankind away from Terra tens of thousands of years ago, landing on Luna. Then he proceeds to talk about how the first bear's gruel was too hot, and then the third one was too cold, but the middle one was just right. Saying, well, obviously this was just an analogy to classify the habitability of different worlds. And this is really funny because he's conflating 3 different things, right? The first and most obvious being Goldilocks and the 3 bears, right? The too hot, too cold. But he's also combining this with the Apollo 13 mission and saying that she landed on the moon. And finally bringing in the real world idea of a Goldilocks zone. There's also some contention about monkeys. With monkeys being extinct at this point, Arkan Land creates an artificial one, with there being arguments about the purpose of the tail. A particularly misguided rival of Arkan's had insisted that creatures could hang from trees by their tails, which was patently nonsense. Any serious scholar could see that the beast's tail was designed as a lash and a puncturing weapon to deliver venom. Also, in the Eye of Terror, there's a demon world called Oliensis, and it's just a morbidly obese man curled into the fetal position. That's all. I don't really have anything else to say about that. This one...
Is that real? Wait, huh? Wait. Chat, can you confirm? That is so dumb. What the hell? The Fat Guy Planet is real? That's insane. That's actually crazy. I don't get it, but like fire, banger, what the fuck? Sick. Holy shit. A marine chapter that got lost or turned into chaos that hangs out. What? Who thinks about stuff like that? Like dead ass. Who thinks about stuff like that? What? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's funny as fuck, don't get me wrong, but like, huh? Okay, shit. So Nesh thinks the word's pretty fucked. Oh! You know, that makes sense. Shit. What the fuck? It's a demon world too? This whole universe is so crazy. What?
Comes from commenter Mvovo8698 and is a moment from the book Rin's World, and follows the Crimson Fists, an Imperial Fist successor chapter, as they fight against an Orc Wa. Alessio Cortez, captain of the 4th Company of the Crimson Fists, gets his arm ripped off during a fight with an Orc war boss. And as the war boss is howling in triumph, he takes that moment to shove a crack grenade down its throat, killing it. Now that's kind of funny, but that's not the part I'm talking about. After that, his chapter master, Pedro Cantor, looks at him as like, yo, you can't continue to fight. But Alessio's like, nah, I'm good. You've lost an arm, Alessio. By the mercy of the Emperor, you're lucky lucky not losing your life as well. I haven't lost my arm, brother. It's right over there. I'm still in this. I'm fine. As he points to his severed arm on the floor. And as you know, I have a fondness in my heart for Astartes, showing that sometimes they do in fact have a sense of humor. This next one comes from Marcus C. 9931. This comes from the short story Armor of Fate and follows the recently revived Primarch Rebute Gilliman, who is trapped in the titular Armor of Fate because he's told it's the only thing keeping him alive. So he has to be constantly wearing it or else he'll die. So he's looking over blueprints, doing paperwork.
I remember this.
Gilliman's favorite stuff. And he's finding it hard to grab stuff because he has these, big gauntlets on because he's in the armor, right? And he ends up knocking over a bunch of papers. So he has to bend down awkwardly to pick them up. And with his big bulky hands, he just can't quite grab the papers off the ground. And he's getting super frustrated. And finally, Gilliman just like, damn, I'm created by the Lord of all mankind, master of the greatest armies of the Imperium, and I can't even pick up a Plastech flimsy. And then he stares down at him and he's like, my greatest enemy. And there's a quiet there for a second.
I remember
and then
this.
Cato Sicarius, another notable, super serious guy, just looks over and is like, you're joking, my lord? So Gilliman turns to look at him. Mind you, he can't just turn his head around. He has to turn his whole body around to look at him. He's like, damn, am I expected to be serious all the time? Yes, Captain Sicarius, I am making light of my predicament. During the worst of the Great Crusade, I was known to make the occasional jest. I'm not devoid of humor. And Cato Sicarius just deadpan just looks up and is like, humor is not something you are renowned for, my lord. This excerpt's funny to me on multiple levels. Not only is it just funny that this Primarch, this demigod, can't even pick up paper and documents and stuff just because he's forced to wear this armor. It's too bulky, and that's really frustrating for him. But then also, he's been gone so long that the myth of Gilliman has been built up. So everybody just thinks he's super serious all the time, and he's like, yes, I could be cool. I could be funny too, I swear. So this next one comes to us from
he's just one of the guys.
587, and is about the Luna Wolf, Yakton Cruz. Yakton Cruz was the captain of the 3rd Company of the Luna Wolves, later known as the Sons of Horus. And he was basically ancient for an Astartes. He was kind of like the cantankerous old man of the Legion. He's basically always like, back in my day, we did it like this. And he was really prone to giving long-winded and frankly irrelevant opinions. He also didn't like it when people would bring levity into serious topics. So he probably didn't like notable goofball Tarek Torgotten. He was just kind of seen as a relic of the past. And let's be honest, between me and you, we all know some old people like this, right? You just kind of half listen to them and nod your head and be like, yeah, I know. Things were better back then. You're right. You're right. And the Luna Wolves were no different. And that's why Cruz earned the nickname the Half-Herd, because you only heard half of what he was saying because you were only half paying attention to him. And this is extra funny coming from the Astartes because while Yakton Cruz was older than a lot of the other Luna Wolves, I mean, he was still an Astartes. He's still a super soldier. So to see a super soldier be treated like an old man is kind of funny to me. So in the last video, I talked a little bit about Caiaphas Cain and how enjoyable of a character he is. This time, I want to talk about a different reoccurring character in the Caiaphas Cain books. The Inquisitor of the Ordo Xenos, Amberly Vale. She is an important character in many of the Cain stories.
Is this your waifu chat? Also, I can't believe they just fucking... In this universe, you can just basically okay boomer someone. Why is that so dumb to me? Why is that so stupid to me? I kind of love that though. Okay boomer. Oh man. She canonically... Oh, with Cain? Oh. No, it's Cain's? Oh, okay. I guess we have some respect for her there. That's Cain's wife. That's Cain's GF. Ah, okay. Understandable. Have a nice day. She's taken by Cain. I could never. That's true. That's true. We gotta be realistic, chat.
And is also Cain's love interest. But none of that is why she's on this list. So in addition to being an important character, she also works as the in-universe editor of the Cain archives. So basically, she's the one going through all of Cain's journals to make coherent stories out of them. And while doing this, she adds little editor's notes. She'll interject sometimes, and they are almost always hilarious. Some examples are, during the climax of For the Emperor, Cain describes how Amberly's displacer field teleported her out of the way of a bullet just as she was diving for a gun. And then all of a sudden, here's a crash and some cursing. And Amberly cuts away to go into detail about how displacer fields preserve momentum and ends it with, it was a stupid place to put a table anyway. Or when Cain's talking about Inquisitors and he's like, bribery and threats are popular methods for getting what you want, but the Inquisition is better at both and tend to resent other people for using them. And Amberly's like, entirely untrue. The Inquisition is most definitely above such petty emotions as resentment. Or anytime a woman turns flirty with Cain, Emberly's footnotes become a little icy and sassy. I mentioned in the last video, but I'm going to say it again. If you haven't yet, you should definitely check out the Caiaphas Cain books. I think the audiobooks in particular are top-notch. Okay, for this last one, I want to talk about the big bad War Master of Chaos himself, Ezekiel Abaddon. Specifically during the 13th Black Crusade and the fall of Cadia. So we got the big bad War Master, leader of the Black Legion, and he's already had 12 Black Crusades before this, each with different objectives in mind, culminating in this 13th one. Abaddon doesn't always feel like he's written this way, but he supposedly has kind of a grand plan, right? So things are going well for them on Cadia, but then, you know, a bunch of shenanigans happen involving an angel and a Necron Pokemon Master. So it looks like the Imperium might win the day, but then at the end, Abaddon just kind of throws a fit, and he's like, you know what? Screw you guys. If I can't have Cadia, then nobody can. And he just chucks a Blackstone fortress into Cadia, leading to its total destruction. And I really like it because, like, it's really just a big fuck you moment, and it's extra funny coming from the War Master of Chaos. I really like the mental image of him just throwing a little hissy fit. There's this demon of Tzeentch called the Changeling, right? And he's known to get up to some mischief from time to time, even playing some tricks on the gods of chaos themselves. My favorite being, when the blood god Khorne was away, he snuck up and put a couple Nurglings on Khorne's throne, creating a somewhat messy whoopee cushion the next time the blood god sat down.
Stop,
so
that's
apparently,
dumb.
fart jokes
I love
are even funny to unknowable warp entities. So GW isn't always the most clever when it comes to their naming conventions. And that's on full display when you look at Ferrus Manus and the Iron Hands, as commented by Papag8. Ferrus Manus translates to Iron Hand, the Legion is named the Iron Hands, the flagship is named Fist of Iron, the logo is literally just an Iron Hand. It's almost like the people at GW got to the Iron Hands after a long day of riding, and are just like, man, I don't know, they like iron, and some other guy's like, yeah, iron, and their hands are iron. He's like, yeah, okay. No need for anything else? Iron Hands, that's it. That's gold, baby. Let's go home. Now, I know that this isn't exclusive to the Iron Hands, but with them, it seems to be the most blatantly funny. Next, we have Lotara Saren. Before we get to the comment, I'm going to give a little background on her. Lotara was the commanding officer of the World Eater's flagship, the...
It's your wife, chat! Rage Quitter number 1. I kind of love that, like, I kind of love how most of these stories are just like, oh yeah, no. So this guy decided that he didn't want it anymore, and he just threw. I think this is so dumb. Lotara's badass, we love her. Okay, this is like Twitch chat's wife. That's not my wife, this is Twitch chat's wife. Tzeentch keeps the changeling around because the universe is more interesting with them in it. Tzeentch is just an Omega troll then, what the fuck?
The Conqueror during the Horus Heresy. And she's unique in that she just did not take any shit at all. In the book Betrayer, she shot a World Eater captain in the face because he disrespected her orders, and she would regularly talk shit and banter with Angron and get away with it. Which, if you know anything about Angron and the World Eaters, makes her, I would say, comical levels of insane. And yes, of course there's fan art of Lotara and Angron. But I digress. What I actually want to talk about was when she tried to play cards with the Dreadnought, commented by Condor391. In the book Betrayer, Lotara tried to play cards with former Legion Master and current Dreadnought, Lork. But apparently Lork was a very sore loser, and his massive gauntlets precluded a card player's finesse. And it ended up that they had to use a servitor to hold his cards. He only played once and not for more than 2 minutes, before saying this is ludicrous and leaving. So this is funny all on its own, right? But what makes it extra funny is the implication that they did actually try to play with the Dreadnought holding the cards first. Imagine him holding the cards very close to his contemptor face, and the cards just slipping out of his hands over and over again. Also, his statement of, this is ludicrous, like he's in on the joke and he realizes, I'm a Dreadnought. Why the hell am I playing cards? So to me, the whole situation is just really funny on multiple levels. So this next one is less of a funny moment and more of a grounded human moment. But because it stands in stark contrast to the general over-the-top nature of 40k, I believe it still deserves a spot on this list. As commented by McEldarcraft HD and Maxnix Leben 3334. In the book Horus Rising, Euphrates Keeler is dealing with PTSD from almost being obliterated by the chaos demon Samus. Almost being killed is one thing, but also seeing a demon possess the Astartes is a whole nother level of trauma. Now, a lot of times in 40k novels, we see characters, usually Astartes, go through horrific stuff. And for the most part, they usually kind of just brush it off with a, it is what it is. Or if they do have lasting effects, it's mentioned that it affects them, but in practice, it doesn't really change anything about them or their actions. Of course, there are exceptions, and one of those exceptions is Euphrates Keeler. So after living a nightmare, she has heavy PTSD. And when Garvio Loken goes to talk to her about what happened, a guardsman leaves her quarters. And it turns out, instead of facing her problems, she does what many people would do and masks her pain with external stimuli. In this case, having sex with random guardsmen. And I like this because it shows that these people are human, right? They don't always deal with things the best way. They mask their pain, right? They'll do whatever they can to forget. This next one wasn't from a comment, but I wanted to include.
I thought you guys. Oh no, wait, no, that makes sense. No, wait, no, that makes sense. But what the fuck? Okay, shit, girl. I guess. Shit, girl. Go off, queen. I guess. Fire. What the fuck though? What the hell? Poor soul. Yeah, I mean, I kind of get the, like, I guess that is a coping mechanism, but still, shit.
Included anyways. As you know by now, I like it when the usually super serious Space Marines show a little bit of comedy, a little bit of humor. In the book, The First Heretic, Argyle stops the priests of Colchis from continuing to question Cyrene, a survivor of the devastation of Monarchia, with Cyrene saying, "Isn't that blasphemy? Defying the will of the Covenant?" With Argyle being like, "No, it was a tactical retreat in the face of overwhelming boredom." I just like that he basically hit him with the, "Oh, brother, this guy stinks!" And it's just like, yo, we gotta get out of here. I am so bored. This sucks. Which again, having this come from a usually super serious Astartes makes this even more funny to me. So for this next one, I'm going to talk about an Imperial Fist Space Marine by the name of Maximian Voss. For whatever reason, he was much shorter than the average Space Marine and decided to compensate for this by being jacked as hell. And he just kept getting more and more jacked. He got so jacked, in fact, that his armor had to be adjusted. And it had to be adjusted multiple times because he just kept on getting bigger. It was so bad that he had to be commanded to grow no thicker. So at the surface level, it's funny because he's basically Asta for Black Clover, right? But to me, even funnier than that is this character is probably something of a self-insert for the author, Steve Parker, who I'm just gonna throw on screen now. I don't know, what do you guys think? So this...
The fact that he had to be told, hey, don't grow any jacker is insane. What? He was just a short king. Chat, we love our short kings here. We love our short kings. Don't, it's okay. Overcompensating is probably not healthy. Don't do it, chat. I believe in you guys. Some king shit. I love how much how like supportive you guys are when it comes to stuff like this. Damn. Average 40k writer? Are you saying the 40k writers are overcompensating for something? Is that what you're saying, chat? Short king, Mia praise her. Wait, I'm not a short king. If anything, I'm an average sized queen, duh. Very average.
This next one is from the 7th edition Cult Mechanicus Codex and was brought up by Kid Cthulhu Fortney 1320. There's an excerpt about the scouring of Johann's Eden, a jungle planet where an ancient data cache was found. Unfortunately, the planet was already infested by Necron constructs, so what followed was 8 years of war. And when the Mechanicus finally recovered the data cache, they got 3 intact STCs, one of which being a crockpot. So in classic Mechanicus fashion, they spent 8 years and probably millions of Skitarii lives for directions on how to make a crockpot. And what's even funnier to me is they were probably like, praise the Omnissiah, this is super sick. Because to them, no price is too high to pay for those sweet, sweet STCs. So I've talked about Trazen the Infinite a couple times on this channel, and no surprise, I'm gonna do it again in this video. So in the last video, I talked about the fall of Cadia, but as commenter Ian Ballas pointed out, I missed one of the best parts, and that's all.
Honestly though, guys, crockpots are low-key goated. I too would praise a crockpot if I could.
All the random BS he throws out during this battle. Being the Pokemon master that he is, he's throwing out all manner of creatures, from extremely powerful Tyranids, entire squads of Terminator Marines, Imperial Guard units, and Custodians. So he is just throwing everything at Abaddon. And a lot of these people are from the Horse Heresy era, so they're just like, ooh, what's going on? And just kind of have to roll with the punches. I mean, he even released Inquisitor Greyfax, who at this point had been in stasis for a couple hundred years. I think Trazen always adds a little bit of humor to any situation he's in because you never know what he's going to do. He could just come in and basically be like, wild card, bitches! Yeah!
What the hell?
Oh my god! And while we're talking about him, the next one is also about Trazyn, coming to you from commenter Anton's Voice. And he mentions how Trazyn will break into Belisarius Call's HQ, insult him, and then just leave. And that's funny because it's just Trazyn living up to his wildcard nature. But I think even beyond that, it's super funny when Trazyn and Call interact. One of my favorites being this excerpt from The Fall of Cadia. Trazyn and Call are working together to try to activate the Cadian pylons to close the Eye of Terror. And Call's on the Vox with Castellan Creed and is trying to hide the fact that he's working with the Xeno. And I'm just gonna read the excerpt. 3 days? I believe we can get the network to full power then. Too long. Assume you have 36 hours at most. That may be an overestimate. Creed paused. And who's we? Call looked over his shoulder at the Xenos giant, who stood half hidden in the shadow of a pylon, surrounded by the weapons of the Breachers. He'd plucked a servo skull out of the air and was turning it over in his hands. Death Mask head tilted to one side as he examined it. The suspensor engine buzzed in irritation, trying to escape. I mean the royal we, Lord Castellan. We, the defenders of Cadia. We, the Imperium. We're all on the same side, aren't we? At the side of the cavern, Trazyn tore the skull's data projection lens from its orbit with a dusty crack and tossed the empty skull behind him. What are you doing? Mouthed Call, covering the Vox handset with one hand and throwing the others up in indignation. This is unique wiring, he said, as if Call was being deeply unreasonable. He ran a palm emitter over the component. Unique to the Forge world of Magnex, before it was lost in the heresy. The same filaments and focus lenses used in las impulsors. Far too good to be repurposed in a servo skull. Put it back. The aliens in passive Death Mask tilted to one side, and Call swore, the metal mouth curled up at the edge. Then the Necron flicked his necrodermis hand as if performing an act of prestidigitation, and the component vanished into a hole in reality. He opened his empty hands. Innocent. I lost it. Call bit off the shout that was rising in his throat, his hands raising in fists. Next, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, the orcs. But more specifically, Uthak Blackhawk. As mentioned by commenter Repeating Imp 7229, Uthak Blackhawk destroyed a warlord titan in one of the most orc ways possible, by driving his car into it and then killing everybody inside. But I want to talk more about the time he was fighting in the Dark Eldar capital, Kamara. So indeed, when fighting in the Drukhari flesh pits, he did, in fact, yeet a whole Space Marine into the stands. But what makes that even funnier to me is the fact that the Space Marine didn't even really care and was just kind of like, okay, fuck it, we ball, and just started killing random Dark Eldar. You know what they say, when life gives you lemons, kill some Space Elves. Okay, for this last one, we're going over to commenter Rump438. And he talks about a section in the Night Lord's book, Voidstalker, where their navigator, Octavia, throws up because she's just seeing the most horrific shit, and Talos not understanding why somebody would be disgusted, chalking it up to her being pregnant having to be the reason. So she walks into a room where bodies are skinned and dripping, hung from dirty chains, so mutilated that Octavia could no longer determine their gender. And the stench hits her so hard that, you know, she collapsed to her hands and knees and throws up, understandably, I think. And Talos just watches her as she throws up a second time and says, I quote, I am given to understand that it is common for females in your condition to regurgitate as part of the natural process. And Octavia can just say, no, it's not that, before she throws up again. And Talos is just like, oh, I have almost no experience with such things. We studied little of the human condition in regards to gestation of children. And what's really funny to me is, just like what Rump said, is Octavia is seeing the most horrific shit ever, but Talos is so crazy and far gone that this is just normal to him. So he's like, oh, it must be that you're pregnant, right? That's why you're throwing up. Surely it couldn't be these desecrated corpses that are just hanging around right now. And then ultimately he's just like, well, yeah, you know, I don't really know much about human pregnancy, so okay. A quick addendum. Looking back at the book right now, the people on the tables were still alive, which makes it even more horrifying and even funnier that Talos thought that the vomiting was from pregnancy. That will do it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. See you all next time. Goblin out.
That's the same high value man. You guys think he's a high value man? Then whenever a streamer throws up pregnant, dude, oh my god. I'm not gonna lie though. I feel like that's kind of me though. If like I get sick, even if I haven't like talked to a man in like 4 months, I still sit there and I'm like, am I pregnant? It's happened like a bunch of times where like I just randomly get sick and I'm like, maybe this is it. It's never it. It's never it. But I still sit there and I'm like, my time has come. It's not it. I'm just stupid. It's quite literally never it. Good video. It was very funny. It hits that like sweet spot that I like, where it's like it's memey enough that I get it, you know?